The wait is finally over, and we are here with our first week of Sacramento Kings basketball. We have 3 games this week, and 2 of them are against former playoff teams of last year. So I will talk you through each game and what to look out for, and what our chances are of winning that game. So here we go. What a great first game for us going into this season. Thanks to this team, the Suns, we always had a team out there that was worse than us. Going into this game, the Kings will be the favorites to come out with the win. But we did lose to this team last year. They do have the home court advantage, so this won't be close to an easy win. The point guard matchup we're going to see in this game is De'Aaron Fox and Ricky Rubio. Ricky Rubio was picked up by the Suns during the offseason, and he's just coming off a great World Cup win with his team, Spain. Rubio has always been an above-average passer and dribbler, and his main flaw is that his offensive capability is lacking. He has never been an outstanding scorer. This category is where De'Aaron Fox will be able to win this matchup. Last season, he was the Kings' second highest scorer at 17 points per game. So Fox will have a good matchup to kick off this season. The shooting guard matchup is going to be the most interesting part of this game. These 2 players were both of their team's leading scorers last year. Buddy Hield with 20.7 points and Devin Booker with 26.6. Devin Booker has always been an elite scorer, and Buddy Hield is coming off of a breakout scoring season. The problem with Devin Booker is that throughout all of his scoring, he has still not been able to help his team win. Buddy Hield, on the other hand, was able to help his team get 39 wins last season. So depending on who wins this matchup, might just decide who wins this game. The small forward matchup we're going to see is pretty much a giant question mark to me. The Suns drafted Cameron Johnson for the 11th pick in the 2019 draft. Nobody is planning on Johnson to be a breakout star this year, so I'm not very worried about him. But guarding Cameron is going to be our veteran small forward, Harrison Barnes. Given the fact that Harrison's a true veteran, he should have no problem winning this matchup. The power forward matchup we're going to see is Dario Saric, let's just go with that, versus Marvin Bagley. Over the offseason, the Suns did pick up Saric from the Timberwolves. This is a good start of the season for Bagley, since he'll be starting against a power forward that won't be too much of a challenge for him. Bagley's going to be starting this season, and this is a great matchup for him to ease his way through. The center matchup is going to be a really fun matchup for us to watch. DeAndre Ayton was the number 1 pick in last year's draft. And last year, he didn't stand out as a great player, but he definitely wasn't a bust. Going up against Ayton will be our new center, Dwayne Dedmon. Ayton does have a future in front of him with the capability to be an all-star, and Dedmon's going into his 9th season. Ayton's biggest flaw is his 3-point shooting. This is where Dedmon has no trouble with. Last year, Dedmon averaged 39% from beyond the arc. As a center, with this tool, he'll be able to have an advantage going into this matchup against Ayton. Through all these matchups, the Kings should have the advantage going into this season opener against the Suns. On Friday, we have our first real test of the Kings season. So let's go through the matchups of the starting lineup and see how we could possibly upset the Trailblazers and win this game. The point guard matchup is going to be the highlight of this game. We have Damian Lillard and De'Aaron Fox. These 2 point guards are extremely fast and efficient on the floor. This will be one of Fox's difficult matchups in the NBA. Damian is consistently an all-star in the insanely stacked Western Conference. So if De'Aaron can really show that he can go toe-to-toe with one of the best point guards in the league, we might be able to see the true potential of our star. These shooting guards have very different playstyles. Buddy Hield is the standout 3-point shooter, but CJ McCollum is basically just a slightly worse player than Lillard. Lillard shoots more threes than McCollum. CJ averaged 5 fewer points and 4 fewer assists. But basically, he's kind of a backup point guard playing a shooting guard position. So this matchup is opposing styles, but it's going to be very interesting to watch. Now, you might have argued that CJ McCollum is a true shooting guard. He is a true shooting guard. What I'm saying is that Buddy is a 3-point specialist, and CJ can do a lot more than what Buddy can do on the floor. This small forward matchup is going to be pretty even. Harrison Barnes is going up against Rodney Hood. Now, I know historically Harrison Barnes has been the better player than Rodney Hood, but last season in the playoffs, we really saw what Rodney Hood can be. But Barnes is much more consistent. So if Hood is having a good game, Barnes might have a test. But if we're going to see the Hood we've seen for years and years, Barnes should have a advantage going into this matchup. The power forward position is the weakest area in the Blazers lineup. The reason for this is that their usual starting power forward, someone they picked up on the offseason, I would think, Pau Gasol, is currently injured. And they have Nurkic, who might have played center or power forward, I'm not sure. But fortunately, one of the Kings' best players is our power forward. The player that Marvin Bagley is going to have to go up against is Zach Collins. He was their bench power forward last year. Zach Collins is also young like Bagley, with being only 21 years old. So this will be another good matchup for Bagley to ease his way through this starting season. The center will be very interesting with Dwayne Dedmon and Hassan Whiteside. Historically, Whiteside has been the more dominant center in the league. He has averaged about 11 rebounds in his short career. He is young and can keep up with the Kings' fast pace. Last year, our former starting center could be dominated by a great big like Whiteside. I'm very interested to see how Dedmon can stand up against Whiteside. This game will be the first major test of the Kings for this season. Doesn't mean everything, but if we can look up to snuff against this top team, we have a lot to look forward to this season. The Saturday right after the Blazers game, the Kings have to go in Utah to face the Jazz. The Jazz will be one of the teams we're going to have to be a little better than this year if we want our playoff hopes to live on. The Kings are going to have to try extra hard in this game to prove that they belong in this heated playoff hunt. De'Aaron Fox is up for another tough matchup in this game. Mike Conley has been a top point guard in this league for a good amount of years. This is the first year that Conley is going to play with Donovan Mitchell, so I'm not sure how his play style will change, so I'm very interested to see how this game will go. De'Aaron Fox is much faster and more athletic than Conley. This will be the aspect that Fox is going to have to take advantage of if he wants to win this matchup. The shooting guard matchup is going to be the main thing to watch in this game. Donovan Mitchell is in the same draft class as De'Aaron Fox, so he's young. Mitchell has instantly become a leader and a star. He is the leader of the Jazz and will be the deciding factor in their future. Both Mitchell and Buddy Hield were their team's leading scorers last year. They both were averaging over 20 points a game. The difference between them is that Mitchell is a playmaker and Buddy is your average three-point efficient shooting guard. This clash of styles is going to be very interesting to watch. For the first time of the season, Harrison Barnes has his first tough matchup. He will be going up against Bojan Bogdanovic or Joe Ingles. I'm not actually sure who's going to start. They might start together as forwards, but Jazz have been starting a lot of different people in the preseason. So let's just act like Bojan will start. So Bojan played for the Pacers last year and was a pinnacle role player for them. Barnes is the definition of a pinnacle role player, so this will be a good matchup to see. I'm not sure who the Jazz will play as their starting power forward, but Bagley will have his hands full dealing with the Jazz's outstanding center. The matchup will be deciding factor of this entire game will be in the center position. Rudy Gobert is a multi-time defensive player of the year and is a monster center. He is a difficult matchup for any center in the league, so Dwayne Dedmon will have his hands full tonight. Or on Saturday, sorry. If Dedmon can find a way to quiet down Gobert, we have a real chance to win this game. The Jazz is a scary team, but very new team. They have a lot of new pieces that can make them very dangerous, can also make them very vulnerable at the beginning of the season if they're not used to playing together. So this is our time to strike, and this is our time to win this game against the Jazz. So that is what our first week of our season is going to look like. I expect to come out of this week 1-2, but it is a very strong possibility that we upset either the Blazers or the Jazz. I'm leaning towards the Blazers since they don't have some of their key players that make them a successful team. So let's get into this season and let's play some Kings basketball.